and see it, and we should learn the entire session. So then, Arjuna's, then finally, after hearing from Krishna, Arjuna says, okay, Krishna, I accept what you say. And then Arjuna's acceptance and his request to show the opulences, because Arjuna is asking it, Krishna is telling him about all the opulences that he has, and that is what is being described in this chapter. This chapter is very beautiful. After verse 12, the shlokas will move very fast, but here we are in the first few verses of the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So, very quickly to revise, to see what have we covered. So, just a second. And just for your information from today, this particular episode or the discussion is also on live telecast on YouTube. So sometimes people cannot connect on Zoom. You could possibly get on YouTube and watch it, but I will have to give you a link. So, and then you will be able to watch it even later on. I don't have to send you a recording. So you can, if anybody has missed a session, I'll post it, and I'm also having a small YouTube channel created, so you can just go and watch what is missing. The past recordings, I will try to pull them out and also put them in, but the YouTube channel will be able to give you this also in the future. So moving on from there, thanks to technology and my son who is helping me, Chiranjeev Shamdas. Thank you for that. So let's just revise what did we cover last time. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Bhuyayeva Mahabaho Shrunume Paramam Vacha Shrunume. Hear me. Yatteham Priyamanaya Vakshyami Hitakamyaya. Because you're very dear to me, Priyamanaya. Therefore, Vakshyami, I'm telling you. Why? Because Hitakamyaya. Because this is very beneficial for you. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, listen again. He says, Bhuya Eva. Again and again we have to listen to this Bhagavad Gita. O mighty armed Arjuna, Mahabaho, because you're my very dear friend. For your benefit, Hitakamyaya, I shall speak to you further, giving knowledge that is better than what I have already explained. Shrunume paramam vachaha. This is supreme instructions of mine, Krishna says. So this is taking on from where the Lord left the 9th chapter. And the Lord says again here in the next verse, Name vidhu suraganaha prabhavam namaharshayaha ahamadirhi devanam maharshinam cha sarvashaha. So he says, neither the hosts of demigods nor the great sages know my origin or opulences, for in every respect I am the source of the demigods and the sages. So he's very clearly saying, listen from me now. This knowledge you will not get anywhere, because even they do not know it perfectly. Name viduhu suraganaha. Suragana means the devatas. Prabhavam na maharshayaha. And my prabhava, my opulences are also not known by the Maharishis, because aham adirhi devanam, I am the creation of all the devatas, maharshinam cha, and also of all the maharshinam, and sarvashaha, of everything, because I am the source of everything. They do not know me because I am their creator. They cannot understand me in full, Krishna says. However, he says, Yomam ajamanadim cha vetti lokamaheshwaram asammuda samartyeshu sarva papaihi pramuchyate. He who knows me as the unborn, as beginningless, and as the supreme Lord of all worlds. He only, undiluted among men, is freed from all sins. Later he will say, such people can only know me. So he says, Yomam ajam means understands me as unborn. Anadim, ana adi. There's no adi for the Lord. So he's beginningless. Anadi. Sometimes we may say, oh, Janmashtami, Krishna is born. No. Krishna plays a role like he is born, but he is anadi. Anadir adir Govinda. Sarva karana karanam. Brahma Samhita says. So here he says, Krishna says, I am ajam. I am not born. I am unborn. I am anadim. I am beginningless. And Maheshwaram, and the Supreme Lord of all the worlds. This is very, very important for us to understand here. So Krishna stays at many places. Yogeshwara, Paramatma, Parameshwara. And here he says Maheshwara. So Krishna is everything. We may use the same words for others sometimes. We may be in a limited way Ishvara. We think we are Ishvara, but Ishvaraha Paramaha Krishna. Out of all the Ishwaras, the supreme Ishvara is Krishna, is what is mentioned here. Krishna is himself telling this to us. And he says, you just understand that I am unborn, beginningless, and the supreme Lord of all worlds. Immediately, you will be freed from all sins. One of the last verses of Bhagavad Gita is सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य मामेकं शरणं व्रज अहं त्वां सर्व पापेभ्यो मोक्षयिष्यामि मा शुचः. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. Again, he says here, he's repeating that later, but he again says here that if you know that I am unborn, I am beginningless, and I am this Maheshwara, then you will be free from all sins. Right? Then today we're getting on to the 4, 5, and 6, where the Lord is talking more about his opulences. So now we can repeat these shlokas after me. Buddhir
बुद्धिर्ज्ञानमसम्मोहः
Shama Satyam Tamah Shamaha
क्षमा सत्यं दमः शमः
Sukham Dukkham Bhavo Bhavo
सुखं
दुःखं
भावो
भावो
Bhayam Cha Bhayamev Cha.
भयं एव च
I am cha abhayam evacha. I am fear and I am also non-fear. Bhayam cha abhayam evacha, which is pronounced together as bhayam cha bhayam evacha.
भयं च भयमेव च
Ahimsa samata tushtihi
अहिंसा समता तुष्टिः
tapodanam yasho ayashah.
तपोदानं यशो यशः
I'm just breaking it up. When you are pronouncing Sanskrit, you will read it as tapo danam yasho yashaha. But actually, the words are yasho ayashaha. And you're joining them together, it becomes yasho yashaha. Right? O is elongated, so it becomes yashaha only. So tapo danam yasho yashaha.
तपोदानं यशो यशः
Pavanti bhava bhutanam.
भवन्ति भावभूतानां
अत्त एव पृथग्विदाः.
मत्त एव पृथग्विदाः.
So the Lord is listing so many things here. We'll come to it one after another. Buddhihi, intelligence. Jnanam, knowledge. Asammohaha, freedom from doubt. Shama, Shama, it means forgiveness. Satyam, truthfulness. Dama means control of the senses. Then Shamaha means control of the mind. The first one is Kshama, Kshama, Kshama Kardo. This one is Shamaha, control of the mind. Then Sukham, happiness. Dukkham, distress. Bhavaha, birth. Abhavaha, death. Bhayam, fear. Cha, also. Abhayam, fearlessness. Cha, also. Cha, and Eva also, Cha, and Ahimsa. But can I request everybody else to switch off your mic, mute your mic, so that you will not have the echo. Thank you. And when I'm reading the shloka, at that time you can unmute. Thank you. Ahimsa, non-violence. Samatha, equilibrium. Samatha, sama. Tushtihi, satisfaction. Tushtihi means satisfaction, to be very satisfied. Tapaha, penance. Dhanam, charity. Yashaha, fame. Ayashaha, infamy. Bhavanti, come about. Bhavaha, natures. Bhutanam, of living entities. Mattaha, from me. Eva, certainly. Prathak vidaha, variously arranged. Intelligence, knowledge, freedom from doubt and delusion, forgiveness, truthfulness, control of the senses, control of the mind, happiness and distress, birth, death, fear, fearlessness, non-violence, equanimity, satisfaction, austerity, charity, fame, and infamy. All these various qualities of living beings are created by me alone. So the purport is long, so I would request different devotees to read the purport. So whoever is reading first can read the first three paragraphs. Please go ahead.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
The different qualities of living entities, be they good or bad, are all created by Krishna and they are described here. Intelligence refers to the power to analyze things in their proper perspective, and knowledge refers to understanding what is spirit and what is matter. Ordinary knowledge obtained by a university education pertains only to matter, and it is not accepted here as knowledge. Knowledge means knowing the distinction between spirit and matter. In modern education, there is no knowledge about spirit. They are simply taking care of the material elements and bodily needs. Therefore, academic knowledge is not complete. Asamoha, freedom from doubt and delusion, can be achieved when one is not hesitant and when he understands the transcendental philosophy. Slowly but surely, he becomes free from bewilderment. Nothing should be accepted blindly. Everything should be accepted with care and caution. Krishna tolerance and
Shama.
Shama, tolerance and forgiveness should be practiced. One should be tolerant and excuse the minor offenses of others. Satyam, truthfulness means that facts should be presented as they are for the benefit of others. Facts should not be misrepresented. According to social conventions, it is said that one can speak the truth only when it is palatable to others. But that is not palatable to others, but that is not truthfulness. The truth should be spoken in a straightforward way so that others will understand actually what the facts are. If a man is a thief and if people are warned that he is a thief, that is truth. Although sometimes the truth is unpalatable, one should not refrain from speaking it. Truthfulness demands that the facts be presented as they are for the benefits of others. That is the definition of truth.
Thank you. And we have a change of guard now. Somebody else can read the next two paragraphs. Thank you, Maithili.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Control of the senses means that the senses should not be used for unnecessary personal enjoyment. There is no prohibition against meeting the proper needs of the senses, but unnecessary sense enjoyment is detrimental for spiritual advancement. Therefore, the senses should be restrained from unnecessary use. Similarly, one should restrain the mind from unnecessary thoughts. That is called sama. One should not spend one's time pondering over earning money. That is a misuse of thinking power. The mind should be used to understand the prime necessity of human being, and that should be presented authoritatively. The power of thought should be developed in association with persons who are authorities in the scriptures, saintly persons, and spiritual masters, and those whose thinking is highly developed. Sukham, pleasure, or happiness should always be in that which is favorable for the cultivation of the spiritual knowledge of Krishna consciousness. And similarly, that which is painful or which causes distress in that which is unfavorable for the cultivation of Krishna consciousness. Anything favorable for the development of Krishna consciousness should be accepted, and anything unfavorable should be rejected. How birth should be understood to refer to the body. As far as the soul is concerned, there is neither birth nor death. That we have discussed in the beginning of Bhagavad Gita. Birth and death apply to one's embodiment in the material world. Fear is due to worrying about the future. A person in Krishna consciousness has no fear because by his activities, he is sure to go back to the spiritual sky, back home, back to Godhead. Therefore, his future is very bright. Others, however, do not know what their future holds. They have no knowledge of what the next life holds. So they are therefore in the constant anxiety. If we want to get free from anxiety, then the best course is to understand Krishna and be situated always in the Krishna consciousness. In that way, we will be free from all fear. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 11.2.37, it is stated, Vayam
द्वितीया भिन्न विशेषतः स्यात्.
Okay. Fear is caused by our absorption in the illusory energy. But those who are free from the illusory energy, those who are confident that they are not the material body, that they are spiritual parts of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and who are therefore engaged in the transcendental service of the Supreme Godhead, have nothing to fear. Their future is very bright. This fear is a condition of persons who are not in Krishna consciousness. Abhayam, fearlessness, is possible only for one in Krishna consciousness.
Let us pause and let us review a few of these things. Very, very important summary and statements are being made here. So here, intelligence is being referred to the capacity and the power of analyzing things in a proper perspective. And knowledge, jnana, refers to understanding what is spirit and what is matter. So this is intelligence and this is knowledge. Ordinary knowledge obtained by university education, he says, only pertains to matter, but the spiritual knowledge is obtained only by proper analytical study of the scriptures. And very clearly he says knowledge means to know the distinction between spirit and matter. Knowledge means to know what is matter, what is spirit, who am I, who is God. This is the understanding that we need to have. In the modern education, there's no knowledge about spirit, he says very clearly. So this is very, very important. Asammohaha, free from doubt and delusion, says can be achieved only when one is not hesitant and he understands the transcendental philosophy of bhakti. But surely he will be free from bewilderment if he's in the path of bhakti. And he says nothing should be accepted blindly. There's nothing like, just traditional and so, we do like this, this is a ritual. No, 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 no. Ask questions, understand from the scriptures, reach out and understand why you have to do it. Do not worry about it. Everything should be accepted with care and caution. Shama. Now, the same words I've got similar. There are three words. Shama means tolerance and forgiveness. Shama means, Shama means to restrain the mind from unnecessary thoughts, control of the mind. It's called Shama, not Kshama, Shama, and Sama. Sama means equal. So these have to be carefully pronounced, otherwise the meanings can change. Kshama means to tolerate and forgive, and it should be practiced by everybody. To be more tolerant than a tree. Amanina manadena kirtini arari. He says, Trinadapi sunichena, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Trinadapi sunichena, tharoriva sahishnuna. Trinadapi sunichena, tarorapi sahishnuna. You have to be as tolerant as a tree and humbler than a blade of grass. Right? So we have to be tolerant. We have to be forgiving. And that should be practiced. And we should know how to excuse minor offenses. That does not mean major offenses should be fully tolerated. You have to fight for dharma where you have to. That is why Krishna is also enthusing Arjuna, fight for your right. Do not worry. But but minor offenses, mistakes that are not repeated should be forgiven. So we cannot hold on. And Krishna only helps that forgiveness capacity also in us. Satyam, truthfulness. He elaborates here on various things. We have to be true to ourselves, true to our family, true to the Lord as a witness. So we cannot be untrue. There's a very common saying Let's get Satyam Vada, Priyam Vada, na Satyam Apriyam. So this is what is being elaborated here a little. Satyam Vada, tell truth. Priyam Vada, tell things that are palatable, means that are good and I would say appealing for people to hear. Na Satyam Apriyam. Do not tell Satya that is not palatable to people. However, here Srila Prabhupada says, not telling Satyam, which is not palatable to others, is not truthfulness. So we have to be truthful, means we need to be able to tell the truth. However, why in what parlance is that used? Na Satyam Apriyam. There's no need for some information to be given to some people. And you give it, it unnecessarily causes a heartache. And those sort of information need not be given. So, see, this man, somebody is coming in front of you and to thinking that you are truthful, you are telling a third person about all the negatives of that person. That is not Satyam, right? So we need to be careful about it. And if somebody is talking to you and you don't like his face, oh, I'm very truthful, so I'll tell him, oh, I don't like your face. I don't like this, I don't like that. No, that's not truthfulness. From that angle, you need to be careful about what you say, measured in words. A word that comes out cannot be brought back in. So we have to be careful about it, but we also should know that we have to lead our life truthfully. So this is very clearly there. Then he talks about control of the senses. The senses should not be used for unnecessary personal enjoyment. That does not mean senses and no sense of enjoyment is there. As grastas, as people who are married, we have an authority to have. We have the blessings of the Lord to gratify our senses to a limited extent. So it does not mean we get to an extreme. So we need to be careful about it. We don't need to get that into a habit and get more and more indulged into sensual activities or things meant for personal enjoyment. So that's what he sees here. There is no prohibition against meeting proper needs of the senses. You're eating some Krishna Prasadam and you say, oh, this is very tasty. No, 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 sorry, I should not say it is tasty. That's sense enjoyment. No, sorry. You enjoy what is there, rightfully given to you. Enjoy it and relish what the Lord has given you. Associate with people that the Lord has provided to you. That's no problem. But unnecessary sense control, unnecessary indulgence of the senses is what he's been repeatedly mentioning it again and again. Bhuya eva mahabaho, as Lord says, again and again he's repeating it. Then he says, and you should restrict the mind from unnecessary thoughts. Because the mind can take you away. Mana eva hi manushyanam karanam bandha mokshayoho. If the mind is let loose, the mind goes so fast. The mind says, I want this car, I want that property, I want that lady. So the mind then goes out of control and it somehow or the other starts to force us. Mind is so heavy. Sometimes it can completely take you in a wrong direction. So we need to be very careful about how to control the mind. So Bhagavad Gita, many times the Lord says, how you control the mind too. So the same theme is coming here. So the power of thought should be developed in association of persons who are authorized authorities in scriptures, saintly masters, spiritual masters. When you're associating with devotees, then the mind is again and again thinking, what can I do for Krishna? Even in the satsanga, sometimes the mind goes here and there. Somebody is watching a TV, some show, the mind goes there. But you pull it back into Bhagavad Gita. That's the way to train. Both sukham and dukkam, Krishna says, I give. Sukham, pleasures or happiness. And so Krishna says, accept those. Should always be in that which is favorable for cultivation. You should accept that sukha that is favorable in Krishna consciousness. Okay, and similarly, that which is painful or which causes distress is that which is unfavorable for cultivation of Krishna consciousness. That is it. So it is not that something else that I don't like is painful. No, if something is not suitable for Krishna consciousness, that if you're forced to do, that becomes pain. So we need to call sukham dukkham, bhavo bhavo. Then he says, and he says very clearly, anything favorable for development of Krishna consciousness should be accepted. We should jump and take onto it anything that is favorable for Krishna bhakti. And things that are not favorable, we should think and meditate as to how we can slowly get away from wrong habits, wrong businesses, from wrong doing, ill thinking. Slowly and steadily, we should give up those that are unfavorable in Krishna bhakti. Then bhava and bhava. he says here, bhava, birth, should be understood to refer to the body. And we have always talked about it that the soul has neither birth nor death. So here we are talking about, just the body, and we are embodied. And he says, bhava and bhava, this also is fear. The fear comes, he says, only because you don't have faith in Krishna. And Krishna says, ma suchaha at the end. Do not worry, do not fear. So there is no need for us to fear. That is bhayam. There is no need for us to fear. People have fear in life only when they do not understand about Krishna. That is where this quotation is. Bhayam dvitiya bhinna avasheshitaha syat. Only when you're thinking that you're different from Krishna, then you have that fear. When you know that everything that happens to you happens by the mercy of Krishna, Krishna is there to take care of me, that you're a spiritual part of the Supreme Lord, and Krishna will take care of you. As we normally say, this phrase is Rakshishyati iti Vishwaso. Krishna will protect me in all circumstances. For us, for those people, there is no conception of fear. We can go about fearlessly. We don't have to be feared. So he says, Bhayam abhayam evacha. Now let us get on to the next part. Somebody else can take on to reading from Ahimsa.
Can I read, Prabhu?
Please.
Hare Krishna. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Ahimsa, non-violence, means that one should not do anything which will put others into misery or confusion. Material activities that are promised by so many politicians, sociologists, philanthropists, etc., do not produce very good results because the politicians and philanthropists have no transcendental vision. They do not know what is actually beneficial for human society. Ahimsa means that people should be trained in such a way that the full utilization of the human body can be achieved. The human body is meant for spiritual realization. So, any movement or any commissions which do not further that end commit violence on the human body. That which furthers the future spiritual happiness of the people in general is called non-violence.
Pause. This is a very important message about ahimsa. We say Gandhi's movement is ahimsa, means no, I will not fight. Ahimsa, I will not cause injury onto others. I will not lift any weapons. I will not fight. That alone is not ahimsa. What Srila Prabhupada writes here, and the Shastras say very clearly that, when you're doing something that is not beneficial for a human, beneficial in terms of him being connected to Krishna, then that is ahimsa. When you do things that are beneficial for those who are serving Krishna, that is truthful. When you are doing something that is not beneficial, that is himsa. When you're doing something that is beneficial, that becomes non-violence. So that's what he says here. If you do not give the message of Krishna to others, at one stage, Srila Prabhupada writes, that is called himsa. If you want to be ahimsavadi, you need to know how to give this Krishna's message to others so that you can benefit others. Somebody is lying down on the street and somebody is suffering from all the miseries of this material world. And will you just forget about him and turn your face and move away? No, you'll think, oh, no, that is himsa. I should do something good for him, right? So if you do something good for them, that is called ahimsa, non-violence. So that which furthers the future spiritual happiness of people in general is called non-violence, and we should therefore help in furthering the spiritual happiness of everybody. That spiritual happiness, how can we further? We can give one Bhagavad Gita book. We can encourage them to read Bhagavad Gita, attend Bhagavad Gita, get them connected to some temple, understand, get them, discuss with them philosophy somehow or the other. Ena kena prakarena mana Krishna niveshya. So if you apply and encourage people to become devotees of the Lord, then you are really a ahimsavadi. You are really a person who is following ahimsa. So that's a very important aspect here. Let's get to the next. Komala Mataji, go ahead.
Samatha. Equanimity refers to freedom from attachment and aversion. To be very much attached or to be very much detached is not the best. This material world should be accepted without attachment or aversion. That which is favorable for prosecuting Krishna consciousness should be accepted. That which is unfavorable should be rejected. That is called samatha, equanimity. A person in Krishna consciousness has nothing to reject and nothing to accept, save in terms of its usefulness in the prosecution of Krishna consciousness. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. So samatha is very beautiful. So freedom from attachment and aversion, equipoised. That is called samatha. Okay, tushti. Get on to tushti, please.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Thank you. Yes, Umesh.
Tushti satisfaction means that one should not be eager to gather more and more material goods by unnecessary activity. One should be satisfied with whatever is obtained by the grace of the Supreme Lord. That is called satisfaction. Tapas means austerity or penance. There are many rules and regulations in the Vedas which apply here, like rising early in the morning and taking a bath. Sometimes it is very troublesome to rise early in the morning. But whatever voluntary trouble one may suffer in this way is called penance. Similarly, there are prescriptions for fasting on certain days of the month. One may not be inclined to practice such fasting, but because of his determination to make advancement in the science of Krishna consciousness, he should accept such bodily troubles when they are recommended. However, one should not fast unnecessarily or against Vedic injunctions. One should not fast for some political purpose. That is described in Bhagavad Gita as fasting in ignorance, and anything done in ignorance or passion does not lead to spiritual advancement. Everything done in the mode of goodness does advance one, however, and fasting done in terms of the Vedic injunctions enriches one in spiritual knowledge.
Wonderful. So the first topic here is tushti. This is very much lacking in the modern world. Tushti means is to be satisfied with what? Edurcha lava santushto. Santushto. Tushti comes from there. Edurcha, Krishna says, be happy with what you have. No, I want to be career oriented. I want to have this a goal and that goal. And yes, you need to wake up and you need to know what you want to do in life and you need to look forward, no doubt. But we need to be happy. We have to put our efforts and whatever results come, we need to be happy with what are the results that come in and not be hankering after more and more material goods. But when it comes to spiritual things, the santushti may never be there because we want more and more association. Spiritually, we want more. Materially, if you're going to ask for more and more, it becomes a bad quality. Spiritually, you want to do more seva, more tapasya. Tapa is the next point, right? Doing more for Krishna. That is called tapasya. Tushti means us to be happy. We should all learn sometime or the other how to be happy with what we have. We have a particular type of body, particular type of relatives, particular type of business, particular amount of wealth, particular amount of inheritance. We should know how to live within our means and be happy. So this is a very important lesson also of Bhagavad Gita, how to be happy with what we have. Krishna repeats it again and again. And tapasya wise, yes, there are various opportunities. We should do tapasya, and tapasya, austerity or penance should be done according to Shastras. It should not be just done as political purposes, band or fasting because the politician party is not doing something. That leads you to nothing. But you have to do fasting according to rituals, according to what Ekadasi is, according to Janmashtami, other important days. Fasting, like on the 22nd Sunday, next Sunday, it's Balram appearance day. We call it Avani Avatam. That day is good for fasting till midday. Janmashtami, which is on the 30th, is a good day for fasting the whole day. Every Ekadasi is important for fasting. So kindly try to slowly get into the habits of fasting, and we can teach you how to fast some day. You know how we can make fasting simple and what levels of fasting can be there. Let's get on to charity right now. Yeah, somebody else can take on to the till the end from now, or we'll pause after one paragraph for me to say a few words and then we'll go on. Somebody can get on, please. as far as charity is concerned from there? Somebody wants to read?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I'll do that.
Thank you, Yogendra.
As far as charity is concerned, one should give 50% of his earnings to some good cause. And what is a good cause? It is that which is
the line is
it
Is
is
it
that
okay?
which is conducted in terms of Krishna consciousness. That is not only a good cause, but the best cause. Because Krishna is good, his cause is also good. Thus, charity should be given to a person who is engaged in Krishna consciousness. According to the Vedic literature, it is enjoined that charity should be given to the Brahmanas. This practice is still followed, although not very nicely in terms of the Vedic injunction. But still the injunction is that charity should be given to the Brahmanas. Why? Because they are engaged in higher cultivation of spiritual knowledge. A Brahmana is supposed to devote his whole life to understanding Brahman. Brahma janati Brahmana. One who knows Brahman is called a Brahmana. Thus, charity is offered to the Brahmanas because they are always engaged in higher spiritual service, and have no time to earn their livelihood. In the Vedic literature, charity is also to be awarded to one in the renounced order of life, the sannyasi. The sannyasis beg from door to door, not for money, but for missionary purposes. The system is that they go from door to door to awaken the householders from the slumber of ignorance. Because the householders are engaged in family affairs and have forgotten their actual purpose in life, awakening their Krishna consciousness is the business of the sannyasis to go as beggars to the householders and encourage them to be Krishna conscious. As it is said in the Vedas, one should awake and achieve what is due to him in this human form of life. This knowledge and method is distributed by the sannyasis. Hence, charity is to be given to the renouncer of life, to the Brahmanas and similar good causes, not to any whimsical cause. Where is it? Guruji, your voice is not clear.
Sorry, I was muted. Forgive me. So here we talk about charity. So actually, later in the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord is talking about varieties of charity, whom to give in charity, which type of charity is right. It is not just you give charity and that person is misusing it. So that's not my problem. Sorry, you need to give according to Desha Kala Patra. So how to give charity? What is charity in goodness? What is charity in ignorance? And what is charity in passion? Charity is charity. That's what we understand. But Bhagavad Gita describes all of that. So here he talks about the importance of giving to Brahmanas and giving to sannyasis because they are meant. Brahmanosya mukamasit. Why the Shastras say give to the Brahmanas? The Brahmana is not supposed to be going to work at all. The Brahmana is supposed to be praying for the benefit of all of us, for himself and for the benefit of all of us. And so all of us are supposed to take care of him. Right? So in the house, different people do different things. My wife may be taking care of the household activities. I may be working. Some other member of the family will be ironing. Some other person will take care of the car. Some other person will take care of this. So different people have different activities. Similarly, the Brahmana's function is to serve the Lord for the benefit of not only himself, for Sarve Janaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Therefore, it becomes all our responsibility as other family members to take care of the Brahmana. And that is why it is said, feed the Brahmanas, give charity to the Brahmanas. Right? Now we question that too. But giving charity to sannyasis also is very important because they have nothing that belongs to them. They don't need anything for themselves. Just whatever maintenance they will go for. It's called madhukari, door to door. They will go and whatever they get, they'll be happy with it. Sannyasi is not somebody who will be on a Rolls Royce car and who will do this and who will do that. Sannyasi is those who will use everything in the service of the Lord. That doesn't mean we should criticize somebody else from whatever they do, but we need to be sure that the persons are utilizing it properly in good causes, in Krishna conscious causes. And there's also one statement here that says one should give 50% of his earnings to some good cause. So what we should do is we should set apart our money so that we are carefully serving. Apart from what we need for basic sustenance, whatever extra that we have and savings that we have, we should know how to spread it across good causes. Some for family, we should be able to spread it out. Various Shastric injunctions say that 50% of our savings should be given away in charity. In the local communities, there is something called zakat. They have a particular percentage, and so they also employ an auditor who comes, audits, and as zakat, he says this much of the profits I have made will go for spiritual causes. So every one of us should do it. What are we going to do? We give education to our children. We give good roti, kapda, makan to our children, and they're well educated. They have good health. They will sustain and they will earn better than us. They will do better than us. So savings that you have, inheritances, let us not just give it and just keep it all give. No, every one of us should be able to give charity. We should train our children to give in charity. We should give in charity as we live. This is something very important that all of us should learn to do at some time or the other. We need to assess, what do I need? How much more do I have? What can I use as I live? Not that after I pass away, my children will give in charity. As I live, what can I give in charity? That's an important aspect. Let's get on to the last part. Somebody can read from here.
Shall I continue, Guruji?
Yes, or
Hare
Veena, come
Krishna,
on.
Prabhu.
Veena, read, please. Go ahead.
Yeah. Uh, all these qualities.
No, from here,
Yeah.
the previous paragraph. Yashaha, Yashaha, from there.
Yashaha, fame, should be according to Lord Chaitanya, who said that a man is famous when he is known as a great devotee. That is real fame. If one has become a great man in Krishna consciousness and it is known, then he is truly famous. One who does not have such fame is infamous. All these qualities are manifest throughout the universe in human society and in the society of the demigods. There are many forms of humanity on other planets, and these qualities are there. Now, for one who wants to advance in Krishna consciousness, Krishna creates all these qualities, but the person develops them himself from within. One who engages in the devotional service of the Supreme Lord develops all the good qualities as arranged by the Supreme Lord. Of whatever we find, good or bad, the origin is Krishna. Nothing can manifest itself in this material world, which is not in Krishna. That is knowledge. Although we know that things are differently situated, we should realize that everything flows from Krishna.
So this is very, very, thank you very much, Veena. This is very important. What does Yasha mean? Who is popular man? Who is the famous man? Shah Rukh Khan, Aishwarya Rai, all these, people who are in the movies and people who are politicians. No, they look at the qualification that's given here. A devotee of the Lord is the famous person. And that devotee of the Lord that is real fame. So one who becomes a nice devotee of Krishna, he is truly famous not just for a few decades of people populace. He is famous for centuries. Ramanujacharya, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all of these people are great devotees, and so they are the real famous people. Yashaha. They have the real Yashaha. That is very important. It's not the others who are just famous for doing something wrong. There are also people who are famous for doing something wrong, like these terrorists, right? And they become very famous. Everybody knows the name of Bin Laden. Everybody knows this name and that name. Huh? So Osama, Obama, and Osama, people know all these negative guys also. They're famous. Why not? But the real famous for devotees. And then he talks about qualities. All these qualities are created by the Lord. Both the good and the bad are created by the Lord. And they are within us. And like how a child is born, the walking quality, the capability to walk is also inborn. And at the right time, when the body is fit, the child starts to stand up and walk. Similarly, all these qualities are in us. These qualities are in us because these qualities are in Krishna. And if we become devotees of Krishna, all these qualities will come in abundance to us. I want to quickly take you to one verse which is very, very, very important, and I want all of you to just see this. Just allow me to share that particular part in a second. I will take you there and I will share. Just bear with me for 1 second. Okay, just 1 second. Let me stop share and then let me get there. Just give me 1 second. I'll stop share and then I will restart. This is a very, very important verse for all of us to know and understand. And this verse is in Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto, sorry, SB 5, 18, chapter, verse number 12. And I open it, and now I will share the screen. I want all of you to see this particular verse for a second. And what does this verse say? Yasyasti bhaktihi bhagavati akinchana sarvai gunaihi tatta samasate suraha harava bhaktasya kuto mahadguna manoratena sati davato bahihi. What does it say? All the demigods and their exalted qualities, the qualities of all the gods, sarve suraha, yasyasti bhakti, okay, sarvaihi gunaihi tatra samasate suraha, sarvaihi gunaihi tatra samasate, all the gunas are accumulated, like of all the demigods are accumulated together, such as religion, knowledge, renunciation, become manifest in the body of one who has developed unalloyed devotion for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva. If you become a devotee of Krishna, automatically all the gods are also ready. All the exalted qualities that all the personalities have are automatically into us. On the other hand, a person devoid of devotional service and engaged in material activities has no good qualities. Even if he is adept in the practice of mystic yoga or honest endeavor for maintaining his family and relatives, what this means is he is working hard. He's truthful. He's working hard, but he is not a devotee. Oh no, qualities that he has are of no use. He must be driven by his own mental speculations and must engage in service of the Lord's external energy. How can there be any good qualities in such a man? So, a person who is not a devotee of the Lord, even if he may be truthful, he has got no good qualities. But on the contrary, a person who is a devotee of the Lord immediately fills him with all good qualities. It's a very, very, very beautiful verse. I shall post it in the forum. It is very important for all of us to understand this particular part very, very clearly, right? So we have covered a very, very long two shlokas that have got so many qualities. Let's quickly get on and revise it here in seeing the purpose. In 4 and 5, Krishna says he is the origin of all qualities by which one seeks to understand the truth. Krishna is the source. Different qualities, be they good or bad, are created by Krishna. Nothing can manifest in this material world which is not in Krishna. You're able to see my screen, right? The presentation.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, we can't see the presentation, but we can see the Veda-based thing.
Oh, is it? Okay, just give me a second. I was just having a doubt whether I was sharing it properly. So, just I will share it again. Sorry. Okay, now you're able to see the presentation.
Yes, Prabhu.
Thank you. So Krishna is the origin of all qualities by which one seeks to understand the truth. And he is the source of all the good and the bad. Because nothing which is not there with Krishna can be with us. So it is very important. Manifestation, where does Krishna manifest all these qualities? He manifests it throughout this universe, in the human society and in the society of demigods. And for whom are these created? Krishna creates it for those who wants to advance in Krishna consciousness. Krishna has created it. You can go with a shopping basket and pick up all these good qualities. If you're going to use it for Krishna, Krishna gives it to you. Even though you may have a good quality, if you're not using it for Krishna, these qualities are of no use, is what he says. But a person has to develop from within, and by devotional service, one automatically develops all good qualities. Sarvai gunaihi tatra samahita suraha. So that is very yasyasti bhakti bhagavati akinchana. If somebody develops bhakti, all good qualities come upon him. Then this is very beautiful. What is this? Intelligence, buddhi, then jnanam, asammoha, we have covered sukham, dukkam, shama, forgiveness and tolerance, samaha, control of the shamaha, control of the mind, damaha, control of the senses, truthfulness, satyam. And then he goes on to explain again birth, bhava, abhava. The ninth is bhava, abhava. For the soul, there's no birth and death. Then he talks about abhayam, fearlessness, ahimsa, samatha, tushtihi, not eager to gather more than what material things, not more than what is required. That is called tushti, being happy with what we have. And tapaha, austerity and penance. Charity is danam. And fame is yashaha. The 16 qualities, Krishna says, I give all of these. So Krishna is explaining his opulences and he is giving this. Let's go to verse number 6 right now. It will be a little shorter purports, so we should be able to finish up to 7 today. So you can all unmute yourself and let's get on. Maharshayah sapta purve
Maharshaya sapta purve
chatvaro manavastatha
Chatvaro manavastata
madbhava manasa jata
madbhava manasa jata
esham loka imah prajah.
tesham loka imah prajaha.
I noticed that the English transliteration is not there. So bear with me. I possibly clicked something wrong. Okay, now it will be there. Sorry about it. Okay, so Maharshayaha Saptapurve Chatvaro Manavastatha Madbhava Manasa Jata Yesham Loka Imaha Prajaha. But Maharashayaha, the great rishis, Sapta, 7, Purve, before, Chatvaro, 4, Manavaha, Manu, Tatha, also, Madbhava, born of me, Manasa, from the mind, Jataha, born, Yesham, of them, Loke, in the world, Imaha, all this, Prajaha, population. The 7 great sages, and before them, the 4 other great sages, and Chatvara. First is Sapta, and then Purve Chatvara. Before that, 4 great sages, and then the Manus, the progenitors of the mankind. Manu, man, we call man, comes from Manushya. Manu are the progenitors of mankind, and there are many, many types of Manus. Swayambhuva Manu, Shwarochisha Manu, etc., and come from me and born from my mind, and all the living beings populating the various planets descend from them. So this is a very important verse. Krishna says, how I'm creating. Let's get to the purport here right now. Somebody can read the purport, please.
The Lord is giving a genealogical synopsis of the universal population. Brahma is the original creature born out of the energy of the Supreme Lord, who is known as Hiranyagarbha. And from the Brahma, all the 7 great sages, and before them, 4 other great sages, named Sanaka, Sananda, Sanatana, and Sanat Kumara, and the 14 Manus are manifested. All these 25 great sages are known as the patriarchs of the living entities all over the universe. There are innumerable universes and innumerable planets within each universe, and each planet is full of population of different varieties. All of them are born of these 25 patriarchs. Brahma underwent penance for 1000 years of the demigods before he realized by the grace of Krishna how to create. Then from Brahma came Sanaka, Sananda, Sanatana, and Sanat Kumara, then Rudra, and then the 7 sages, And in this way, all the Brahmanas and Kshatriyas are born out of the energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Brahma is known as Pitamaha, the grandfather, and Krishna is known as Prapitamaha, the father of the grandfather. That is stated in the 11th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, 11.39.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Very, very beautiful part. Let's get to that right now. You're able to see my screen. So Krishna is the source of all, and Pitamaha, the grandfather, because he's the source of all, Krishna is called Prapitamaha. We all do Tarpanam on Amavasya, you know. So when we do Tarpanam, all the Brahmanas do Tarpana on Amavasya day. We do the Tarpana, means we are offering oblations. So with the sesame seeds, we offer oblations. So we first chant for instance, I don't have a father, my father is no more. So I first chant for my Pita, then my Pitamaha, then I chant for my Prapitamaha. So I chant their names and I do 3 offerings of sesame seed with chanting a mantra for 3 generations. And similarly, because my mother is there, I chant my grandmother's name, my great grandmother, and my great great grandmother. Similarly, I chant for both my father's side, fathers, the male and the female, as well as my mother's side, the male and the female, 3 generations. And then I chant Nyatha Jnata Pitrun Swadha Namastarpyami. Knowingly or unknowingly, I may have so many other Pitris for all of them. And then we also chant what is that? Jnata Gyata Pitrana Swadanam Tarpyami. Then what is that? And we say Trupyata, Trupyata, Trupyata for everybody. So that is why, you know, Brahmanas who do this, they are not only chanting for their own families, they are chanting for Esham na Mata na Pita na Bandhu na Anya Gotrinaha Te Trupti Mayantu Kushodritaihi Mayot Kushodritaihi Trupyata Trupyata. For them also we offer Tarpanam. Yesham na Mata na Pita na Bandhu na Anya Gotrina, for all my friends and my relatives and even those that belong to the other Gotras, for all of them I offer my Tarpana. This is what is said. So the Brahmanas. So the reason why I'm quoting you is there we say Pitamaha, Pita, Pitamaha, Prapitamahanam. So we offer Tarpana. And who is that Prapitamaha? The real Prapitamaha is not my great grandfather. The real great grandfather for all of us is Krishna, who is called Prapitamaha. Arjuna says that in the 11th chapter. And who is the Pitamaha? Is Bhishma Pitamaha? Yes, but Brahma is called the Pitamaha. And then and then we have the 25 patriarchs of the living entities. And who are they? The 4 Kumaras. The 4 Sanaka, Sananda, Sanatana, Sanat Kumara. They are all children of Brahma. Okay? And then the 7 sages, the Kashyapa, Atri, Vashishta, Vishwamitra, Gautama, Jamadagni, Bharatwaja. And then the 14 Manus, if you see here, Swayambhuva, Swarochisha, Uttama, Tamasa, Raivata, Chakshasha, Vaivaswata. Right now we are in Vaivaswata Manvantare. All us Brahmanas, when we are doing prayers, we say at what time we say Mama Partha Samasta Dutaksha Dwara Shri Parameshwara Prityartham. Then we say Vaivaswata Manvantare Ashtavigum Satitame Kali Yuge Pratame Pade Jambu Dvipe. Where? In Jambu Dvipe, which is this earth. Bharata Varsha, in this world, in this planet, in this universe, we are in Bharata Varsha, which is in India. Jambudvipe, Bharata Varsha, Bharatakande, Meroho, Dakshine Pashwe, Shakabde, Asmin, Vartamane, Vyavaharike, Prabhavadi, Shashtyaha, Samvatsarana, Madhye. And then we say this Vasara, Soma Vasara Yuktayam, or whatever day you are in. So we are saying, today I'm offering prayers to you. We are registering our prayers to the Lord and we chant all of this. So here he talks about all these Manus. The other Manus are Daksha Sharvani, Brahma Sharvani, Dharma Sharvani, Rudra Sharvani, Deva Sharvani, Indra Sharvani. So 14 Manus. The names of all of them are given here. So, but the source of all of them are the Pitamaha, who is Brahma as a creator, but the real source of all of them is Krishna, who is the grandfather, who is called Prapitamaha. So let's get on to the next verse. This is the last verse for today. Etam vibhutim yogam cha
एतां विभूतिं योगं च
mama yo veti tattvataha
मम
मम
यो
यो
वेति
वेति
तत्त्वतः
तत्त्वतः
so vikalpena yogena
सोऽविकल्पेन
सोऽविकल्पेन
योगेन
योगेन
yujyate natra samshayah.
युज्यते
तेनात्र
नात्र
संशयः
संशयः
Etam, all this, vibhutim, opulence, yogam, mystic power, cha, also, mama, of mine, yaha, anyone who, veti, knows, tattvataha, factually, saha, he, avikalpena, without division, yogena, in devotional service, yujyate, is engaged, na, never, atra, here, samagata, samashayaha, doubt. So, very, very beautiful here. So, one who is factually convinced of this opulence and mystic power of mind engages in unalloyed devotional service, and of this there is no doubt. So, if we know who is Krishna, if we know all his opulences, all his qualities, then we will definitely fall in love with him. I think last class we took. Why is the Lord explaining? Sometimes I know somebody. Today I went and met some great personality who came from USA. He's a very, very big businessman worth billions of dollars. And his name is Krishna. And I went and met him today. And I know his name. I know him from the internet. But when I meet him and when I understand what all charitably inclined projects he is doing, then I know him more. When I see his face, I know him more. When I hear from others to say he has done this and he has done this, many people do not even know what all others have done. And I know all of those. I know him more. I know him better. So I love him even more. Right? So Krishna, when he is giving us all his qualities to say what all he has created. And so Krishna says, if you know about my opulence, if you know about my mystic power, if you know about all of these, a person who knows factually, tattvataha, you know the tattva, the reality, factually, if you know me, then without deviation, ananyas chintayanto mam, what you will do? Yogena, avikalpena yogena, without deviation, without going here and there, you will know who to surrender. He says, and that is Krishna, avikalpena, without division, yogena, in devotional service, yujyate, yuj, bhaj, yuj, yujna means is to engage, bhaja, okay, na, atra samashaya, and there's no doubt that this person will become a nice devotee of me. So why is Krishna explaining all this to us again and again? Bhuya eva. Because if we know this, in the hope that we will know who is the Lord and will be able to surrender unto Him. Let's get to the purport. Thank you. Some one person can read the entire purport here. Please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, should I take it?
Please, Umeshji, go ahead.
The highest summit of spiritual perfection is knowledge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Unless one is firmly convinced of the different opulences of the Supreme Lord, he cannot engage in devotional service. Generally, people know that God is great, but they do not know in detail how God is great. Here are the details. If one knows factually how God is great, then naturally he becomes a surrendered soul and engages himself in the devotional service of the Lord. When one factually knows the opulences of the Supreme, there is no alternative but to surrender to Him. This factual knowledge can be known from the description in Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita and similar literatures. In the administration of this universe, there are many demigods distributed throughout of the planetary system, and the chief of them are Brahma, Lord Shiva, and the four great Kumaras and the other patriarchs. There are many forefathers of the population of the universe, and all of them are born of the Supreme Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna is the original forefather of all forefathers. There are some of the opulences of the Supreme Lord. When one is firmly convinced of them, he accepts Krishna with great faith and without any doubt, and he engages in devotional service. All this particular knowledge is required in order to increase one's interest in the loving devotional service of the Lord. One should not neglect to understand fully how great Krishna is, for by knowing the greatness of Krishna, one will be able to be fixed in sincere devotional service. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So in this he says, how can we appreciate Krishna's position? And if we appreciate Krishna's position, that leads to surrender. If we know who he is, what his qualities are, all that we can do is surrender unto him. We'll be automatically inspired to surrender. So today we have all heard these wonderful qualities Krishna says, I have created. This brings us an awe and reverence. We say, oh, this is Krishna. I thought he was just this. I thought he was this. I didn't know about it. I want to surrender unto him. I want to know him more. I want to become his friend. I want to love him. So the highest summit of spiritual perfection it will lead us to is a knowledge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Knowing God as great. Generally, people know God is great, but they do not know in detail how God is great. Today, all these opulences that we cover, the Lord is telling us how He is great, how He has done this and that. And what we need to know about from these opulences, what do they need to know? Only if one is firmly convinced about these opulences, then we can accept Krishna with great faith and without doubt. Asamshayaha, without doubt we can accept Krishna. Then one becomes fixed up and sincere in devotional service. And one comes to the platform of factual knowledge, tattvataha. There's no alternative but to surrender. And how to get this factual knowledge? From the descriptions of Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and similar literatures. And the conclusion, do not neglect to understand fully how Krishna is great. And that he is the forefather of all the forefathers and all the demigods in administration. So this is a very, very important part. So this will be the last shloka that we will cover. In the next, we will cover 4 shlokas, and I'll just tell you briefly. In these shlokas, Krishna, as Chatushloki, he summarizes the entire Gita. In text 8, Krishna sums up his opulences and explains the result of truly knowing these opulences. Even here he has said, you know my opulences, and he says later in the next verse, what is the result of knowing the opulences? And that is, you will become a devotee. So if you know my opulences, you will become a devotee, Krishna says. In text 9, he says, how pure devotees worship him. He says, how do pure devotees worship me? Now, first is knowing the opulences, you'll become a pure devotee. What does a pure devotee do? How does he worship me? It's the next. Then in text 11 and 12, he says, he describes how Krishna reciprocates with devotees. It's not just one-sided that I'm praying and Krishna is watching, or he's just an idol, not doing anything, not reciprocating. No. Krishna says, Ye yatamam prapadyante. He reciprocates. So that reciprocation is very beautifully brought out. And this is the Chatushloki that we will be covering. Maybe over 2 weeks. The first shloka is Aham Sarvasya Prabhavo Mattas Sarvam Pravartate Iti Matva Bhajante Mam Buddha Bhava Samanvitaha. I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. The wise who perfectly know this engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. Mat chitta madgata prana bodhayantah parasparam katayantascha mam nityam tushyanti charamanti cha. And what do? The thoughts of my pure devotees dwell in me. Their lives are fully devoted to my service, and they derive great satisfaction and bliss from always enlightening one another and conversing about me. What are we doing? We are in the assembly of great devotees here. We are talking to each other about Krishna. We are always thinking of Krishna. Our discussion is not about what is your line of business and how I can benefit by your business. Can you give me visa? Can you do this for me? Can you give me employment? No. All of us here are meeting here purely for discussing the topics of Krishna and helping each other. So our thoughts are in Krishna's, how to serve Krishna. Our lives, we want to devote our lives to Krishna and his service. And we derive great satisfaction and bliss by enlightening each other. So this is where it's give and take. So I speak, and if you have anything to comment and add on, please do not hesitate. Come on and speak. So this is a very important verse as to how devotees, once they understand Krishna, they become devotees, and as devotees, they are always engaged in thinking and talking about Krishna. Then Krishna says, Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yenamam upayanti te. And to those who are constantly serving me with love, to those devotees, I give the understanding by which they will come to me. Now we may think, oh, how to become a devotee? I don't know. No, try to become a devotee by understanding these opulences. Then Krishna says, Dadami buddhi yogam tam. I will transplant the buddhi into you. Even if however dud you are, don't worry. You know Sanskrit, no Sanskrit. You try with your effort, you make that progress. It is Krishna's duty. We say generally he'll do disk transfer to disk transfer. All knowledge comes in one shot to you. I give the understanding by which they can come to me. So Krishna will give. Then he says, Tesham evanukam partam aham ajnana jam tamaha nashayami atma bhavasto jnana deepena bhaswata. To show them special mercy, I dwelling in their hearts, destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance. We have a lot of ajnana, a lot of darkness in us. And all of that the Lord will take away by lighting the proper lamp in our heart. When He lights this particular lamp, then all the darkness, all the difficulties in our life, all the unnecessary things in our life go away. So Krishna is giving this promise. If you become my devotee, then you will start always thinking and talking and worshipping me. If you worship me, then I'll give you the understanding of who I am. And by knowing me, I give you special mercy. Eva anukampartam, kampana, anukampana means I give you very special mercy, not just ordinary mercy. VIP pass, VIP ticket. He comes, specially sends a charter flight for you. And he says, what do I do? Ajnana jam. All the problems that are born out of ja means born out of. All the problems that are born out of ignorance, I remove all those darknesses. Nashayami. How? Atma bhava. I sit within the hearts, stha, situated in the hearts, jnana deepena bhaswata. With jnana deepa, I light the lamp of knowledge in their hearts by being situated within them, and they glow in Krishna consciousness. That is actually the summary of Bhagavad Gita as the Chatushloki Bhagavad Gita, and we will cover that maybe in one or two sessions. I will see. I have to do some reading of the various tippanis and see how to explain it in a nice way. So it is important for us to read. What are we doing here? We are reading Bhagavad Gita, and we are doing this called the Bhagavad Gita Parayana. We are reading Bhagavad Gita and we are reading the translation and we are reading the purport. We are deliberating on the purport. We sometimes are dealing in every word that Krishna says. This is very important. And sometimes you can just get a very overview, macro view of Bhagavad Gita and move on. But this view of Bhagavad Gita we need to have also. Thank you all for being patient actually. Sometimes I think am I going too deep into it, but I think this is very important for us to understand it at least once. So be patient. Let's go through this journey. And once we go through it, we have to read it again and again for us to stick. Bhuya eva mahabaho. Krishna says, I'm telling you again and again. So we also have to read it again and again. That is very, very important for all of us to do. So today we have covered three chapters, four shlokas, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Any questions, any comments, please? I'm sorry, it's already close to 8:30, but I'm there, willing to be there for a little longer. Any comments, questions, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, Umesh.
Thank you very much. Really great learning experience, and we are learning bit by bit as per our little understanding. But thank you very much, and it's really like you also mentioned that in the knowledge of so many devotees we are getting to learn. So really grateful. Thank you very much. I have one small question. You mentioned the seven sages. Vishwamitra is also there. Vishwamitra, as we understand from the old, he was born as a Kshatriya. So is he there on the? Yeah.
He is not included in the 7. He is not included in the list of these 7. Okay. So
Yeah.
the 7 sages are listed as Bhrigu, Marichi, Atri, Pulastya, Pulaha, Kratu, and Vashishta.
Okay, all right. Okay. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you very much.
Thank you. But he was in competition with Vashishta.
Yes, always.
So he was always wanting to be recognized by Vashishta. Vashishta was a Brahma Rishi, and Vishwamitra was a different type of Rishi, Raja Rishi, as they say. He was a different one. But Vashishta was the real Sattvic one. And so that's why you see Vishwamitra was full of curses, Vishwamitra was passionate. You have the stories of him being attracted to Menaka, Urvasi. So all of these things happen. So every time he does something, he tries to progress and he falls down. And he said, I will make Vashishta proclaim that I am Brahma Rishi. So in Tamil we say Vashishtar Vayala Brahma Rishi Pattam. He says from Vashishta's mouth, I should be, Vashishta should call that I am Brahma Rishi. So there used to be a lot of battles between them. So Vishwamitra was a little passionate Rishi, but a great Rishi, no doubt. So much of Leelas. He brought about so many Leelas with Krishna and Rama. That is important. But Vashishta is included within the top 7 sages.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Right. Any other comments?
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. While if you have questions, you can open up, but I also want you all to pray for Partha Sarathi ji, the father of Prabha and the grandfather of Pratik, who's been hospitalized again for ill health, but I'm sure he'll get back to shape. So our prayers for him, and also our prayers for Ghanshyamji, who's back in Nigeria and his hand is still on cast. So let us also pray for him. And let's pray for everybody else in the congregation. Let's chant mantras 3 times. And then I'm open for questions if you have. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Yes, any comments, any questions, please, if you want to open up and speak, please do. It is getting into a season of Janmashtami. Today we had a long meeting trying to see whether we should resume our in-person meetings in a controlled way. We are thinking whether we will resume programs at the region school for Janmashtami and meet limited with 300 people in multiple batches. So shall keep you informed. There's going to be a lot of action in the next few weeks for us to plan and organize events. And also just for you all to know that I'm also working with the Expo, trying to do various things with Expo and we have got some Kirtan slots for Expo. We want to have some more aspects by which we can bring some spirituality into Expo. We are working with Fiki and doing various things. Seek all your blessings for all of this to work well so that we'll be able to spread the message of Krishna and Bhagavad Gita and Srila Prabhupada to any audience who come to Expo. So let us see, there are a lot of activities happening, a lot of plans. It should materialize by Krishna's mercy. Thank you.
It's great to learn about the expo because it will give opportunity to address a whole lot of people coming around to the expo. And it's a
There are
wonderful.
2 parts there. There's one part that will happen within the India Pavilion, and that's one part that will happen outside. So we are trying to see how we can get some slots for a larger audience and some slots within India Pavilion. They are also very cooperative with us.
That will be wonderful.
Thank you. So thank you very much. Hare Krishna. If anybody wants to stay, I'm ready to stay, but otherwise, technically, the class is over today. Thank you. एकं शास्त्रं देवकी पुत्रगीतम् एको देवो देवकी पुत्र एव एको मन्त्रः तस्य नामानि कर्मापि एकं तस्य देवस्य सेवा त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय हरे परमात्मने प्रणतक्लेशनाशाय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। कात्यायनी महामायी महायोगिन्यधीश्वरी नन्दगोपसुतं देवी पतिं मे कुरुते नमः। श्रीकृष्ण शरणं मम दासोऽहं कृष्ण तवास्मि। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम राम हरे हरे। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय, भगवत गीता की जय, आज के आनंद की जय। ताय घोर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि।
Hare Krishna.
थैंक यू।
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you.
थैंक यू। हरे कृष्ण।
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you.
थैंक यू प्रतीक। Our prayers for Parthasarathy ji.
Thank you Prabhu. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you very much.
Thank you Shruti ji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.